Chapter 1697. This is impossible. Everyone in the celestial divine sect roared in their hearts, finding it difficult to accept all of this. In their hearts, the divine child, who was invincible among his peers, had actually been forced into a disadvantageous position by a half-saint with his cultivation of the saint realm. This was simply like a fantasy story. How is this possible? How is this possible? Mo Yang shook his head again and again as he roared in his heart. All this time, he had never taken Lu Ming seriously, thinking that he could easily crush Lu Ming. However, he did not expect that this time, his imagination would be completely overturned. Previously, Lu Ming had easily killed Luo Shuihan, which made his heart tremble. Facing Lu Ming, he did not even dare to fight, and directly admitted defeat. He thought that Lu Ming would definitely die at the hands of the divine child. However, he now realized that Lu Ming had not used much of his strength before, and now, he could actually suppress the divine child. Why is he so strong? Why am I not the strong one? Who is Lu Ming? What qualifications does he have to have such combat strength? Mo Yang roared in his heart, feeling extremely jealous. Lu Ming, you really did not disappoint me, but this is far from enough. In the celestial divine sect area, Xian Yinjuan's eyes sparkled as he whispered in his heart. On the other hand, the Dragon God Valley was already cheering. Divine child, is this your combat strength? It doesn't seem to work. Lu Ming's slightly mocking voice rang out. There was a trace of surprise in the divine child's eyes as he said, Lu Ming, your combat strength is indeed beyond my expectations. Unfortunately, you have met me, so you are destined to die. Bang! The divine child stepped out, and the holy light on his body became even more intense, turning into a pillar of light that shot into the sky. Bang! Bang! Next, the Son of God took one step at a time toward Lu Ming. With every step he took, the aura on his body became stronger. In the end, the Son of God's aura was so powerful that it was several times stronger than before. Great achievement of the Bright Saint Realm. In the Dragon God Valley, the Purple Dragon Valley Master could not help but let out a cry of surprise. What? The Son of God has already reached the great success stage of the Bright Saint Realm. So fast. The Great Bright Sage Realm is several times stronger than the Small Bright Sage Realm. Lu Ming is finished. The deity's cultivation is too high. Lu Ming is no match for him. What a pity. Lu Ming is indeed incomparably powerful, and rarely seen since ancient times. If he was given a few more years, he might even be able to fight against a divine child. Heaven is jealous of geniuses. The time given to him is too short. Many people sighed, some shook their heads, but there were also some who rejoiced in Lu Ming's misfortune, hoping that he would be killed. For example, Silver Dragon Valley's Yin Zisong, and the others all had ferocious expressions on their faces, hoping that Lu Ming would be killed. The strength Lu Ming displayed this time was too shocking. If Lu Ming was not killed, where would there be room for them in Dragon God Valley in the future? Haha, Lu Ming, you will die in the end. Mo Yang was laughing in his heart, but his face was full of malevolence. Wang. Above the deity's head, a small snow-white pagoda emerged and rapidly grew in size. At the same time, a battle sword appeared in his hand, covered in holy light. There was no doubt that these were all sacred weapons. Wang. The small snow-white pagoda grew to the size of a mountain and suppressed Lu Ming. With the deity's great bright sage realm cultivation, the power of the sacred weapon was extremely powerful. At this moment, light spots appeared on Lu Ming's body, and from each light spot, a sacred weapon flew out. A total of 36 sacred weapons were suspended around him. The others were dumbfounded, and they almost bit their tongues. 36 sacred weapons. Lu Ming had taken out 36 sacred weapons all of a sudden. Most of the people were dumbfounded. Most people had never even touched a sacred weapon, and had only seen others use it. But now, Lu Ming had taken out 36 sacred weapons all of a sudden. It was infuriating to compare oneself to others. What's the use of having so many sacred weapons? The deity said coldly. The huge pagoda shone and suddenly pressed down. Around Lu Ming, the 36 sacred weapons aura connected with each other, and converged on a large cauldron. Go! Lu Ming waved his hand, and the large cauldron rapidly grew in size, and collided with the huge pagoda. Boom! Like two mountains colliding, the sky shook violently. After the large cauldron and the huge pagoda collided, they were evenly matched and retreated together. Kill! The deity held a long spear in his hand and charged at Lu Ming. The long spear pierced the air and made a terrible whistling sound. Lu Ming was not afraid at all. He grabbed the black dragon spear next to him, and the aura of the sacred weapon gathered, and the precepts circulated as he charged at the deity. The light collided in the void, and the force was rampant, sweeping in all directions. Around them, powerhouses like Valley Master Purple Dragon waved their hands and laid down a defensive light screen. Otherwise, those below the Saint realm would have died if they were hit by the force. Great Saint Light Technique. The deity roared, and the sacred light on his body became even brighter. In the end, it turned into a sacred light armor that covered the deity. The deity's power was even stronger. The deity's spear of punishment pierced through the void, and there was nothing it could not destroy. The deity began to suppress Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming shouted, and activated the divine sword art. Two pitch-black rays of light burst out from his eyes and rushed into the deity's forehead. The deity's forehead shone brightly, and the deity only shook slightly, as if nothing had happened. Lu Ming's current soul power was equivalent to the Bright Saint initial success, but the deity was in existence of the Bright Saint great success, and most likely had a way to defend the soul. Lu Ming's divine sword art had little effect on the deity. Chaos! Lu Ming whispered. A chaos-flipping sky seal appeared in his left hand, and he threw it at the deity. The chaos-flipping sky seal grew rapidly and pressed down, making the deity's face turn grave. He controlled the giant pagoda to crash against the chaos-flipping sky seal. But the deity's spear of punishment in his hand did not stop, and he attacked Lu Ming. Lu Ming held the black dragon spear in his hand to meet the attack. Boom! The giant pagoda was sent flying, but the chaos-flipping sky seal disappeared without a trace. Again, Lu Ming condensed another chaos-flipping sky seal in his hand, and he attacked the deity. Lu Ming condensed the chaos-flipping sky seal, while fighting the deity, with the 10,000 soldier art. For a moment, the two were evenly matched, and the battle became a draw. They kept colliding in the void, and it was extremely fierce. Lu Ming was at a disadvantage in terms of cultivation, as he was only in the second stage of the half-saint realm. Back in the 100-tribe battlefield, Lu Ming, his second body, and Bubble had killed an existence of the Bright Saint great success in a few moves. But that was because the three of them worked together. If Lu Ming's main body was alone, he could at most suppress the existence of the Bright Saint great success slightly, but he definitely could not kill the other party. But now, Lu Ming had 36 saint weapons sealed in his body, and he had cultivated in seclusion in the Dragon God Valley for more than a month. He had finally cultivated the chaos-flipping sky seal to the 6th level. Lu Ming's main body's overall combat power was stronger than when he was in the 100-tribe battlefield. However, because the saints outside could operate their precepts more smoothly, their battle prowess was stronger than the saints in the 100-tribe battlefield. Chapter 1698. Lu Ming and the deity fought fiercely. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged more than 100 blows. At this moment, everyone present was no longer shocked but numb. They were numb to Lu Ming's combat strength. Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded their imagination. They had never heard of a Stage 2 half-saint being able to fight against a greater achievement Bright Sage Saint. Moreover, the other party was a demonic genius. Everyone was only focused on the final outcome of this battle. Everyone held their breaths and clenched their fists. They watched nervously without blinking. They knew that this battle was destined to be recorded in the history of Zhangzhou. It would be known as a pinnacle battle. Lu Ming's main body was surrounded by 36 sacred weapons. He held the chaotic sky flipping seal in his hand. He looked like a god of war. On the other hand, the deity's pagoda floated above his head. He held the spear of divine punishment and was covered in sacred light armor. He looked like the son of God. The two fought in the void and exchanged more than 10 blows. At this moment, the deity's son started to feel anxious. Even with his cultivation level, he still couldn't take down Lu Ming. He was extremely shocked. Lu Ming must die. If this continues, I won't be his match in a few years. The deity's son couldn't accept this thought. However, he knew that it was the truth. Therefore, he had to kill Lu Ming today. Sword of Sacred Light. The deity shouted. A snow-white sword flew out from between his eyebrows. As soon as the sword appeared, Sword Chi soared into the sky and stirred up the clouds. Great sacred weapon, damn it! The Purple Dragon Valley's Valley Master shouted furiously. The others in Dragon God Valley were also shocked. The deity had refined a great sacred weapon. A great sacred weapon was much stronger than an ordinary bright sage weapon. It was the exclusive sacred weapon of a supreme saint. Lu Ming and the deity's son were evenly matched. However, the great sacred weapon had broken the balance. Sword of Sacred Light slash. The deity put away the spear in his hand and held the Sword of Sacred Light. He slashed out and a terrifying sword light slashed toward Lu Ming. Boom! This sword strike struck the Primal Chaos Cyclic Sky Seal that was bombarding him. The Primal Chaos Cyclic Sky Seal shook violently before exploding in the air. Then, the Son of God stepped forward with his sword in hand and slashed at Lu Ming again. The Black Dragon Spear in Lu Ming's hand swept out towards his opponent. Clang! The radiant sword struck the Black Dragon Spear, causing it to vibrate violently. Lu Ming felt a terrifyingly sharp chi surge towards him, causing him to involuntarily retreat. The Holy Light Sword did not stop and continued to slash at him. Lu Ming's mind moved, and the holy weapons around him blocked in front of him. They were all defensive types. Boom! Boom! The saint weapons vibrated, and several of them were sent flying. Lu Ming had to retreat several steps before he was able to block the attack. Now that the Divine Son had taken out his great sage weapon, his battle prowess had increased greatly. Lu Ming was already at a disadvantage. Kill! The Son of God held his sword and charged towards Lu Ming again. Holy weapons danced around Lu Ming as he activated his battle weapon chi and fought with his opponent. After the previous battle, Lu Ming stopped using the Primal Chaos Cyclic Sky Seal. Although the Primal Chaos Cyclic Sky Seal was powerful, it consumed too much energy. If he continued to use it, he would definitely run out of true essence. Kill! The Son of God shouted. His killing intent was wild as he launched a torrential attack on Lu Ming. Up until now, he had not killed Lu Ming. To him, it was a great humiliation. He wanted to kill Lu Ming as soon as possible. Lu Ming blocked with the 10,000 weapon art, but he kept retreating. He was suppressed by the Son of God. Swoosh! After blocking the Son of God's sword strike, Lu Ming soared into the sky. You want to leave? You can't. The Son of God said coldly. He soared into the sky and charged towards Lu Ming. Who said I'm leaving? Lu Ming's voice was heard. At this moment, Lu Ming's glabella shone, and a figure walked out. Ming Lian's second body. As soon as the second body appeared, the Tai Chi array disc floated in the air. A Tai Chi pattern suppressed the Son of God. At the same time, Lu Ming's main body also attacked. He looked down from above and became one with his spear. He turned into a dazzling spear radiance and swooped down towards the Son of God. The Tai Chi array disc had the power of sealing and destruction. It floated above the Son of God, trying to seal and destroy him. Whoosh! Lu Ming's main body's attack arrived. The spear radiance pierced towards the Son of God's glabella. Holy light burst out from the Son of God's body. He roared and slashed out with his sword, hitting Lu Ming's spear radiance. Boom! The Son of God's body fell. Kill! Ming Lian's second body controlled the Tai Chi array disc and continued to suppress the Son of God. At the same time, he operated the array law. Endless runes spread out and formed a battle sword that slashed towards the Son of God. Lu Ming's main body continued to attack. The main body and the second body joined forces, not giving the Son of God a chance to catch his breath. Everyone present was dumbfounded. How could there be two Lu Mings at the scene? How dare you use two against one? You've broken the rules. The great sage of the celestial god sect shouted, his eyes cold. Are you blind? I can't tell. The aura of the two Lu Mings is exactly the same. They're clearly the same person. This is just a secret technique. Although the Valley Master of Purple Dragon Valley was shocked, he sneered and refuted the great sage of the celestial god sect. That's right. This is just a secret technique. The two of them are actually the same person, just like clones. What's wrong with that? If you're so capable, ask the Son of God to use his clones too, Tian Shui said. Humph. It's not your turn to interrupt when the elders are talking. You're so insolent. The great sage of the celestial gods sect waved his sleeves, then turned his head coldly without saying a word. Indeed, Lu Ming's main body and second body had the same aura and soul fluctuations. They were clearly the same person, just like clones. However, they were much more advanced than clones. The two bodies could cultivate different cultivation techniques and comprehend different laws. This was simply unbelievable. No matter what, since they were the same person, it was not against the rules. Asking the Son of God to use his clones was a joke. The strength of the clones was only a fraction of the real body's strength. Moreover, using the clones now would only weaken the combat power of the real body. It was not wise at all. Lu Ming's main body and second body attacked continuously. The attacks were like a storm, not giving the Son of God a chance to catch his breath. The situation had completely reversed from before. Now it was the Son of God who was at a disadvantage. Lu Ming kept attacking. Is the Son of God going to lose? It can't be. A non-saint is going to kill a saint. Oh my God, this is too terrifying. Many people could not hide the shock in their hearts and exclaimed, Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to force the Son of God to this extent. No wonder I lost to you and the Xie family in the Divine Wilderness continent. However, this is not enough. The Son of God still has a secret technique that he hasn't used yet. Xian Yinjuan's eyes flickered with surprise as he muttered. Lu Ming's main body and second body attacked continuously. They cooperated with each other, and their power increased greatly. Son of God, is this all you've got? It seems like you're the one who will die today. Chapter 1699. Xian Yinqing had told him that the deity had another secret technique. Once he cast it, his strength would increase tremendously for a short period of time. He had to be on guard. Lu Ming, you're courting death. You forced me to do this. Holy explosion technique. The deity roared. Boom. At this moment, the deity's body glowed with holy light. The holy light armor on his body exploded and turned into holy light that entered the deity's body. At this moment, the deity's aura skyrocketed and rushed toward the peak of the bright sage realm. What? The deity has another secret technique. What a terrifying secret technique. His aura has begun to skyrocket. It's so powerful, and it's still rising. Even his aura has changed. Many people exclaimed, Roar. At this moment, the deity let out a beast-like roar. His eyes turned red, and there was a trace of ferocity on his face. The pure white holy light on his body was no longer pure, and there was a trace of blood in it. Lu Ming, die. The deity roared and slashed out with his sword. The Tai Chi pattern was broken by the sword and dissipated in the air. At the same time, the sword light struck Lu Ming's long spear. Lu Ming's body shook violently. He felt an irresistible force coming at him, and his body flew into the sky. Kill. The deity roared. He took a step forward and charged forward. The sword light was shocking, as if it could destroy everything. Countless runes appeared on the second body and turned into various weapons that flew toward the deity. At the same time, the Tai Chi array plate shone, and another Tai Chi pattern appeared. Then, the Tai Chi pattern split into two and turned into a pair of yin and yang fish swords that slashed toward the deity. Bam! 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 The deity's sword light easily destroyed the various weapons formed by the second body's array principles. The sword light struck the yin and yang fish swords. Clang! Clang! Sparks flew in all directions, and the sword chi was rampant. The yin and yang fish swords were sent flying. Buzz! In the sky, a huge chaotic cyclic sky seal pressed down on the deity. Behind the chaotic cyclic sky seal, Lu Ming swooped down with 36 sacred weapons and attacked the deity. Holy slash break! The divine child roared and slashed out with his sword. A beam of sword chi of saint light shot up into the sky. It was tens of thousands of feet tall, as if it could split the world in two, and slashed at the chaotic flipping sky seal. Sizzle! When the sword light struck the primal chaos flipping sky seal, an ear-piercing sound was heard. The sword light was actually breaking through the primal chaos flipping sky seal quickly. Bang! In the end, the primal chaos flipping sky seal exploded. The sword light did not stop, and collided with Lu Ming behind the primal chaos flipping sky seal. Terrifying vibrations continued to ring out as Lu Ming's saint weapons were sent flying one by one. Lu Ming's body was once again sent flying into the air. What a powerful force! Lu Ming was also shocked. After the deity used his secret technique, his strength increased by several times. However, Lu Ming was not afraid. Instead, his eyes revealed a strong fighting spirit. Fight! 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 Lu Ming did not retreat. Instead, he closed in. His main body and second body attacked the deity at the same time. All kinds of attacks bombarded the deity. The deity held the Supreme Saint Battle Sword in his hand. A beam of sword light slashed out and destroyed Lu Ming's various attacks. Then the battle sword continued to slash out. Beams of dazzling sword light surged toward Lu Ming. Bang! 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 Explosions continued as Lu Ming's various attacks were destroyed. His body retreated. Kill! The deity turned into a beam of sword light and shot up into the sky, attacking Lu Ming's main body. Clang! 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 The sword light bloomed, and the saint weapons that surrounded Lu Ming were sent flying one by one. In fact, a crack had appeared on one of the shields after being slashed by the battle sword. Lu Ming, you are dead meat today, the deity said coldly as he continued to attack Lu Ming. Swoosh! A beam of sword light almost split Lu Ming's body in half. Lu Ming did not call out Bubble for help. Bubble was a spiritual beast, and was not considered within his combat strength. If he called out Bubble, the supreme saint of the celestial god sect would probably intervene. He could only rely on himself. Whoosh! Lu Ming's main body retreated quickly. His second body stepped forward and controlled the Tai Chi array disc to suppress the deity. Clang! The deity's sword slashed the Tai Chi array disc. The Tai Chi array disc shook and was sent flying. It was not that the Tai Chi array disc was weak, but that the second body's cultivation was limited and could not unleash much of its power. Kill! The deity charged toward Lu Ming's main body again, as if he had his eyes on Lu Ming's main body. Lu Ming tried his best to block, but he was no match for the deity. He was in danger, and was almost cut in half again. He narrowly avoided the attack. Lu Ming is out of tricks. He is using all his strength. Yes, he is strong enough, but he is no match for the deity. He is going to die here. What a pity. At this point in the battle, it was obvious that Lu Ming had used all his strength. Unfortunately, he was no match for the deity. Poof! The sword light swept across Lu Ming's body, and a bloody wound appeared. Blood flowed out. Lu Ming, you don't have a chance anymore, the divine sun bellowed. His attacks were like a violent storm. Lu Ming was in danger, but even in danger, Lu Ming's face was still calm. He used the law of chaos to the extreme and fought with the deity. At the same time, his second body also continuously attacked the deity. The law of chaos. Deity, I will use you to break through the law of chaos. In danger, Lu Ming was exceptionally calm. His essence, energy, and spirit were highly concentrated. The true origin in his body was operating to the extreme. The law of chaos was also operating to the extreme. The more dangerous it was, the more potential it could stimulate. Poof! A sword light pierced through Lu Ming's shoulder. But Lu Ming's spiritual body was so strong that it contained a wisp of chaotic chi. It was not weaker than a mid-level heaven spiritual body. The spiritual body immediately squirmed and sealed the wound. It destroyed the destructive power of the sword chi, so that it would not cause too much damage. The law of chaos, the law of chaos. These words kept appearing in Lu Ming's mind. His spirit seemed to have entered a mysterious state, the ethereal state of life and death. When facing the fatal threat of the deity, Lu Ming finally entered that state again. Buzz! At this moment, there was an invisible wave in the sky that rushed into Lu Ming's body. That is the law of chaos. Someone yelled. Lu Ming has broken through. He actually broke through in the battle with the deity. Unbelievable. He is going to break through the law of chaos. Is the battle going to be reversed again? Everyone was shocked. The overlords of the heavenly divine sect even stood up and unleashed their energy. The law of chaos needs some time to adapt to the law of chaos. Deity, kill him now. The great sage of the heavenly divine sect yelled. Lu Ming, be careful. Purple Dragon Valley Master also yelled to remind Lu Ming. Everyone knew that this battle had reached a critical juncture. If Lu Ming could survive the time his body needed to adapt to the law of chaos, he might be able to reverse the battle and kill the deity. Lu Ming's combat power was already terrifying enough. If he broke through again, he might really be able to defeat the deity. Besides, the deity's secret art could increase his strength in a short period of time. But that was only for a short period of time. If that happened, the deity would definitely die. Chapter 1700. Lu Ming, you don't have a chance. Kill. The Son of God shouted, and raised his combat strength to the maximum as he charged at Lu Ming. Lu Ming retreated quickly. Lu Ming indeed needed some time to adapt to the law of primal chaos. This was the most dangerous time for him. You can't escape. The Son of God chased after him. Whoosh, whoosh. A pair of yin-yang fish swords slashed at the Son of God. Get lost. The Son of God slashed out with his sword, and sent the yin-yang fish swords flying. He seemed to have seen the difference between the primary and the secondary. He stared at Lu Ming's main body, and ignored the secondary body. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Concentrated air-piercing sounds could be heard as the second body took out 21 phoenix feather flying swords. They formed a sword formation and stabbed toward the divine sun. Get lost, get lost. The Son of God swept his sword, and the sword chi broke through the air. The phoenix feather flying swords were all sent flying. But at that moment, Lu Ming's secondary body appeared in front of Lu Ming's main body and blocked it. At the same time, his hands were waving rapidly. In the air, countless inscriptions appeared and large arrays appeared. There were all kinds of defensive, entrapment, entanglement, and offensive arrays that rushed at the Son of God. Now the secondary body's main purpose was to stall for time. Trying to stall for time? Break. The Son of God was furious. With a sweep of his sword, the arrays were broken one by one. The secondary body took a few steps, and with every step, countless inscriptions appeared. One after another, large arrays appeared in the air. Although these large arrays couldn't hurt the Son of God, it was good as long as they could delay him a little. The secondary body's hands were constantly waving, and inscription talisman scrolls appeared, and were opened by the secondary body. The various arrays in the inscription talisman scrolls shone and fell toward the Son of God. These inscription talisman scrolls were the ones that he usually refined. As for Lu Ming's main body, he retreated quickly and tried his best to adapt to the law of primal chaos. Kill! The Son of God roared. Sword light swept out and countless large arrays collapsed. A sword light pierced toward Ming Lian's secondary body at a terrifying speed. Ming Lian's second body waved his hand, and dozens of layers of defense appeared in front of him. However, these defenses were like paper in front of the sword light. They couldn't withstand a single blow, and were instantly pierced through. Puff! The sword light pierced through the chest of Ming Lian's second body, and a big hole appeared. Master! In the stands, Lu Xiangxiang cried out in grief. Junior brother Lu Ming! Tian Shui, Xuaningxin, and Long Yuansheng clenched their fists so tightly that their veins bulged. Everyone at the scene was staring at the battle intently. The battle had entered a critical moment. This battle had exceeded everyone's expectations. At first, many people thought that this was a battle without any suspense. They thought that the divine child could easily kill Lu Ming. However, when the battle between the two really began, it was beyond everyone's imagination. This battle was full of suspense. From the beginning, no one could have predicted the outcome. The two of them continuously used their trump cards and engaged in a peak confrontation. Even now, no one could guess who would win in the end. Everyone's hearts were in their mouths, as if they had forgotten to breathe. Some of the youths were even trembling with excitement. This was a battle between geniuses. They were too far away from the clash between geniuses. Puff! Puff! Ming Lian's second body's chest was pierced through, and he spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. However, his eyes were still calm. He took a step forward, and dense inscriptions filled the air, and a large array appeared. Between his eyebrows, the golden spiritual fire burned fiercely, and the law of array Dao flowed through his body. Above his head, the Tai Chi array diagram emitted a dazzling light. Another Tai Chi array diagram appeared, and it turned into the yin-yang fish sword. The deity's attacks were relentless as streaks of terrifying sword light slashed out. Every single sword light could easily kill an existence in the bright Saint Minor completion. All of the formations had been swept clean. Clang! Clang! The yin-yang fish sword was sent flying. Ming Lian's second body dodged quickly, but he was still swept by the sword light, and one of his arms was sent flying. However, Ming Lian's second body still stood firmly in front of Lu Ming's main body, and tried his best to resist. "Ah, get lost!" the divine child roared crazily. His secret technique had a limited time, and he could not delay. However, Ming Lian's second body had endless means, and he retreated as he fought, blocking in front of Lu Ming's main body. For a moment he could not rush over. Puff! Ming Lian's second body was slashed by the sword light again. This time it was more serious. His waist was cut open, and he was almost completely cut into two. "Die!" the divine child shouted, intending to completely obliterate Lu Ming's second body before killing Lu Ming's main body. "You're the one who's going to die." At this moment, a cold voice sounded, and a figure suddenly appeared in front of the second body, throwing out a punch. Boom! This punch landed on the sword light, and the sword light vibrated. The divine child's body trembled, and he felt a storm of power surging toward him. He could not help but retreat. This figure was Lu Ming's main body. How is this possible? The body needs to adapt to the law of array Dao. How can you adapt so quickly? The divine child shouted in disbelief. How long had it been? Less than a minute, and Lu Ming had already adapted. Others are others, and I am myself. Divine child, you are the one who will die today, Lu Ming said coldly. With a wave of his hand, he put Ming Lian's second body into the mountain river diagram. Although Ming Lian's second body was severely injured, he would recover after a period of rest. Lu Ming had indeed completely adapted now. The law of chaos flowed through every muscle and cell of Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming felt that he was extremely powerful now. Initially, it was impossible for Lu Ming to adapt to it so quickly. However, Lu Ming had refined a wisp of chaotic aura, and his body contained chaotic aura. The law of chaos was very similar to chaotic qi, which was why Lu Ming could adapt so quickly. "Monster, what a monster! He is different from the rest," someone exclaimed. So what if he has adapted? So what if he has stepped into the law of chaos? If he doesn't become a saint, he will still be an ant. "Kill!" The divine child roared and charged at Lu Ming. Boom! Lu Ming threw a punch and blasted the divine child's sword radiance. Then, two black sword radiances burst out from his eyes and rushed into the divine child's glabella. "Ah!" The divine child screamed and his body shook. As Lu Ming had broken through to the third stage of the sage to be, the law of chaos, his soul power had also improved. It was equivalent to the soul power of a great success bright sage, which was equivalent to the divine child's. Using the divine sword art would naturally have a great impact on the divine child. 9 seals of the divine gate. Lu Ming made a gesture with his hands, and 9 sealed doors appeared and surrounded him in the middle. Then, a huge chaotic flipping sky seal appeared and suppressed the divine child. With the breakthrough in cultivation, Lu Ming had improved in all aspects, and his combat strength had skyrocketed. Break! The deity endured the excruciating pain in his soul and roared. He slashed out beams of sword light, breaking the 9 sealed doors. However, the chaotic sky flipping seal was already pressing down. The deity could only block it with his sword. Boom! Chapter 1701. The divine sun retreated, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. Lu Ming stepped forward, and a huge cauldron appeared in his body. Lu Ming grabbed one of the legs of the huge cauldron and lifted it up. He used the huge cauldron as a hammer and smashed it toward the divine sun. Lu Ming was extremely powerful now. His body contained the law of chaos, and every move he made was as heavy as a mountain. When the cauldron smashed down, the horrifying wind pressure made it difficult for the Shensi to breathe. The Shensi could only block with his sword. Clang! The cauldron hit the Shensi's battle sword, and the sword buzzed as he retreated again. Boom, boom, boom. Then, Lu Ming lifted the cauldron and smashed it down like a storm, not giving the Shensi any chance to breathe. One step behind, one step behind. The Shensi was forced into a disadvantageous position and could only block with his sword. Violent explosions continued to be heard, and the Shensi kept retreating. His body trembled, and blood kept flowing out of his mouth. Crack. After several consecutive clashes, a crack appeared on the huge cauldron in Lu Ming's hands. It was covered with sword wounds. The Shensi's battle sword was a supreme sacred weapon, after all, while the cauldron in Lu Ming's hand was a supreme sacred weapon. It was normal for the supreme sacred weapon to be unable to withstand the continuous attacks. However, Lu Ming did not care at all. He had plenty of supreme sacred weapons. Even the supreme sacred weapons sealed in his acupoints could be replaced. Dong! The last hit cracked a large part of the cauldron, but the Shensi was also forced to retreat. Chaotic flipping sky seal. Lu Ming waved his hands, and a huge chaotic flipping sky seal was formed and pressed down on the Shensi. This was Lu Ming's full attack. The Shensi used all his strength and slashed out with his sword, but the chaotic flipping sky seal pressed down, and the sword light collapsed. The chaotic flipping sky seal hit the Shensi, and the Shensi's body fell down like a meteorite. Below him was the battle platform. Boom! The Shensi fell on the battle platform, half kneeling on it, and spitting out blood. At this time, the Shensi's aura was rapidly weakening. In an instant, the Shensi's aura had weakened many times, and he was barely at the Saint Realm. His secret technique's time was up. Clearly this secret technique of his had a side effect. Once the time passed, his strength would rapidly decrease. Whoosh! Lu Ming landed on the fighting ring, and looked at the deity coldly. The divine sun's face was pale, and his clothes were stained with blood. His eyes were filled with unwillingness and disbelief. He had lost. He had actually lost to Lu Ming. God's son, 3 years ago you were so high and mighty. You saw me as an ant and you could kill me. Did you think that today would come? Lu Ming said coldly. Ha ha ha, I hate that I didn't kill you 3 years ago. The divine son laughed as if he had gone mad. 3 years ago, you wanted to kill me, but you couldn't because my senior brother was there. People like you can only show off because you have a higher realm. Without the advantage of a higher realm, you are nothing. Now, I'll send you on your way to accompany Luo Shuihan. As soon as Lu Ming finished speaking, he stepped forward. The cauldron had already disappeared, replaced by a battle sword in his hand. Stop. Enough. A few angry roars could be heard from the heavenly god sect's spectator stand. Powerful auras burst out and pressed down on Lu Ming. What are you doing? Are you going to do it, because the young one can't do it? Valley Master Purple Dragon also released a powerful aura, as he stared at the heavenly god sect. Beside Valley Master Purple Dragon, the other Sage Realm experts of the Divine Dragon Valley did the same. God's son, you can't die. The great sage of the heavenly god sect said coldly, as he looked at Lu Ming coldly. Can't die? What a joke. 3 years ago, the god's son and I agreed to a life and death battle. Either I die or he dies. Lu Ming sneered and stepped forward to attack the god's son. The god's son's face changed, and he quickly retreated in the direction of the heavenly god sect's spectator stand. If you dare to attack, I'll kill you. The great sage of the heavenly god sect said coldly. A god's punishing spear appeared in his hand, and he charged at Lu Ming. A great sage was extremely terrifying, and his strength was much stronger than a sage realm expert. A casual attack from him was earth-shattering. Lu Ming immediately felt goosebumps all over his body, and his muscles tensed up. At this moment, a dragon roar was heard, and a purple light burst out, clashing with the god's punishing spear of the great sage of the heavenly god sect. Then in a flash, Valley Master Purple Dragon appeared in front of the great sage of the heavenly god sect and said, You're shameless. You lost the life and death battle, and a great sage attacked. I'll be your opponent. Get lost. The great sage of the heavenly god sect shouted, and thrust out his spear, as if it could pierce through the void. Valley Master Purple Dragon's body emitted purple light, and he threw out a punch, clashing with the god's punishing spear. The sky was filled with purple and white. God's son, you can't escape. Lu Ming continued to charge at the god's son. You're courting death. Kill him. A few sages of the heavenly god sect rushed over and charged at Lu Ming. Kill. Lu Ming shouted and executed the divine sword art. The few sages trembled, and Lu Ming's battle sword slashed down. Puff! A great success sage expert was slashed in half by Lu Ming's sword. Even his sage heart was shattered. A great success sage expert was killed by Lu Ming's sword. The surrounding people were dumbfounded and speechless. This kind of combat power was too terrifying. A non-saint had killed a saint, and the one he had killed was a great success bright saint. The other sages of the heavenly god sect felt a chill down their spines. However, what welcomed them was another slash from Lu Ming. Bang! A saint in the initial stages of the bright saint realm had used a saint weapon to block, but the saint weapon had collided with his own body. Together with the saint weapon, he had smashed into the battle stage, causing it to crack. As for that saint, he was deader than dead. At this moment, the sages of the Divine Dragon Valley arrived and blocked the sages of the heavenly god sect. Lu Ming stepped towards the god's son and closed in on him instantly. The god's son's face turned even paler. Lu Ming, how dare you kill the god's son? The heavenly god sect won't let you go. The great sage of the heavenly god sect shouted. The god's son was a rare genius of the heavenly god sect. He had a high chance of breaking through to the absolute saint realm in the future. They had already lost Luo Shuihan. The god's son couldn't die. Previously, they couldn't interfere with Luo Shuihan's death during the treasure sorting assembly. However, now that it wasn't the treasure sorting assembly, they had to protect the god's son. Then I'll flatten the heavenly god sect. This was Lu Ming's reply. He was overbearing and instantly closed in on the god's son. Kill! The god's son knew that he couldn't escape. Madness flashed in his eyes as he held his sword and charged towards Lu Ming. However, his current strength was only equivalent to a great success sage expert. He wasn't a match for Lu Ming at all. Lu Ming slashed with his sword and struck the combat sword of the divine sun. The combat sword vibrated, and the terrifying power made it difficult for the divine sun to hold the sword. The combat sword, which was at the level of a great sacred weapon, was sent flying. Lu Ming used his true origin to suck the battle sword into his hand and put it away. Lu Ming, let's die together. Chapter 1702. Lu Ming shot out 2 rays of black light from his eyes and pierced into the deity's body. The deity's soul felt like it was being torn apart, and the true origin in his body stagnated. Poof! Lu Ming's combat sword pierced into the deity's dantian and shattered his saint heart. The deity's power of law turned into a beam of light and shot up into the sky. No! The supreme saint of the celestial god sect roared. The deity's eyes widened and were filled with indignation. With his talent, he would have become the overlord of Tsangzhou in the future. However, he had met Lu Ming. 3 years ago, Lu Ming was only a LV4 martial royal realm cultivator, while the deity had reached the limit of the sage to be, and possessed the power of law. He did not take Lu Ming seriously at all. He was overbearing and fearless. At Qilong Lake, he had scolded Lu Ming and the others. Later, when Lu Ming and the others had obtained the treasures of the Dragon Palace, he felt that he had lost face. He was overbearing and wanted to kill Lu Ming at the treasure sorting meeting. At that time, Lu Ming had challenged him, but he did not take him seriously. If it had not been for Yang Tianzong, he would have killed Lu Ming. Even though he had agreed to the challenge, he did not take Lu Ming seriously. How strong could a LV4 martial royal realm cultivator be in 3 years? He was just an ant that he could kill with one slap. However, at the treasure sorting meeting, Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded his expectations. He had killed Luo Shuihan easily. At that time, he still did not take it seriously. He had reached the great sage realm and had many trump cards. No matter how strong Lu Ming was, he was only a sage to be and would not be a match for him. However, when the battle came, he realized that he was wrong. Wrong meant death. Deity's son, since you are stronger than Luo Shuihan and won't cry and beg for mercy, I will give you a quick death. Lu Ming said coldly. His combat sword vibrated and destructive power surged into the deity's son. The deity let out an indignant roar. and turned into ashes under Lu Ming's destructive power. The deity's son was dead. At this moment, the rest of the people present did not know what to feel in their hearts. It was incomparably complicated. The deity's son, who had suppressed many geniuses in Songzhou for more than a decade, had been killed by a young man with a weaker cultivation. Deity's death meant that an even more terrifying genius was born. In the future, who would be a match for Lu Ming's? Could it be that after the Tsang Emperor, another great emperor would be born in the Tsang state? How could this be? Mo Yang muttered to himself in the Sky Universe Demon Sex grandstand. Heaven of the heavens of the heaven of the heaven of heavens heaveness. Xian Yinjuan whispered in the celestial god sex spectator stand. Her eyes were shining. Once the deity's son died, the celestial god sect would be hers. No one could compete with her. Lu Ming, I want you to pay for it with your life. The great sage of the heavens of heaven roared. He wanted to tear Lu Ming into pieces. However, Valley Master Purple Dragon held him back, and he could not free himself. The other sects looked on coldly. No one interfered. This was not the treasure sorting assembly. It was just a personal feud between Lu Ming and the deity. They had no reason to interfere. Moreover, the Heavens of Heavens sect had expanded too quickly over the years. They were strong, and had become the #1 sect in Songzhou. If the deity's son grew up in the future, he would be a great enemy. However, the experts of the various sects looked at Lu Ming. When Lu Ming grew up in the future, who could be his match? Some of the experts of the sects, such as the Heavens of Heaven Demon sect and the Poison sect, had flickering eyes. No one knew what they were thinking. Boom, boom. Valley Master Purple Dragon and the great sage of the Heavens of Heavens sect exchanged dozens of blows before retreating. Valley Master Purple Dragon retreated to Lu Ming's side to protect Lu Ming. The great sage of the Heavens of Heavens sect was unwilling. He knew that he could not kill Lu Ming today. The Heavens of Heavens sect had been completely defeated in this treasure sorting assembly. 2 of their strongest sky prides had died. The loss was too great. He did not know how to explain it when he returned. Lu Ming, Divine Dragon Valley. The Heavens of Heavens sect will remember this debt. We will repay it sooner or later. The great sage of the Heavens of Heavens sect looked at Lu Ming. He did not hide his strong killing intent. He then waved his hand and shouted, "Disciples of the Heavens of Heavens sect, let's go." After saying that, he stepped into the air and left. All the elders and disciples of the Heavens of Heavens sect followed him. Haha, Lu Ming, well done. Valley Master Purple Dragon came to Lu Ming's side and smiled. But just as he finished speaking, his face suddenly changed. He looked in the direction of the Heavens of Heavens sect. Lu Ming did the same. Boom! A pitch-black hand suddenly appeared in the sky not far away. It was bigger than a mountain, and it grabbed at the people of the Heavens of Heavens sect. Who are you? You're courting death. The great sage of the Heavens of Heavens sect was furious. He formed a long spear in his hand, and pierced it towards the large hand. But just as the great sage of the Heavens of Heavens sect made his move, a few terrifying sword lights shot out from Song Mountain. They instantly traversed hundreds of miles, and slashed towards the people of the Heavens of Heavens sect. Puff, puff. Suddenly, dozens of disciples of the Heavens of Heavens sect were killed by the sword lights. Boom! The long spear of the great sage of the Heavens of Heavens sect pierced through the large hand. However, a few figures flew out from Song Mountain and rushed towards the people of the Heavens of Heavens sect at lightning speed. The person in the lead had a terrifying aura. He was a great sage expert. The other people were also Saint Realm experts. Before they arrived, all kinds of terrifying attacks were launched towards the people of the Heavens of Heavens sect. Who are you people? The great sage of the Heavens of Heavens sect was furious. Saint Light filled the air as he stood in front of the disciples of the Heavens of Heavens sect. The other saints of the Heavens of Heavens sect also stood in front of him to block the attacks. At the peak of Tsang Mountain, everyone was puzzled. Who were these people attacking the Heavens of Heavens sect? Could it be that some other sect was targeting the Heavens of Heavens sect? But at this moment, a terrifying aura rose from the surroundings of Tsang Mountain. Rays of terrifying sword lights and saber lights rose up and attacked the people of the various sects with terrifying might. Oh no, enemy attack! Block it! Many people's faces changed. The great sages of the various sects unleashed all kinds of terrifying attacks to block the sudden attacks. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, many figures rushed out from the surroundings of Tsang Mountain. Every one of them was wrapped in black robes, but the aura they exuded was extremely terrifying. Their sage aura was vast and mighty, suppressing the heavens. The number of people was astonishing. There were at least 50 to 60 of them, and all of them were sage experts. There were even more than 10 of them, whose auras were as deep as the sea, unfathomable. They were not any weaker than Valley Master Purple Dragon, and the great sages of the Heavens of Heavens sect. Great Sage Realm. At least a dozen of these people who had suddenly appeared were at the Great Sage Realm. Kill. Kill everyone. Leave no one alive. A black-robed man said coldly. Kill. Dozens of sage experts rushed towards the peak of Tsang Mountain from all directions. Attack. At this moment, all the experts on the peak of Tsang Mountain exploded. The bright sages and great sages of the 12 top sects all attacked at the same time. Between heaven and earth, there was a terrifying roar. Valley Master Purple Dragon was up against a black-robed man. The black-robed man was also a great sage, and his combat strength was not any weaker than Valley Master Purple Dragon. The two of them fought fiercely. Chapter 1703. Kill. Some of the black-robed saints went past their opponents and attacked the disciples below the saint level, especially the younger generation. Many people from the major sects were killed in an instant. Screams of agony filled the air. It was a complete mess. There were simply too many black-robed figures, and all of them were saints. The great sages from the various sects were all blocked, and the radiant sages from the enemy forces broke through the defenses of the saints from the various sects and began to hunt down the young chosen. Go to hell! A black-robed man broke through the defense of the saints of Dragon God Valley and attacked the elites of Dragon God Valley. Back off! Zifeng shouted and stood in front of the others. Kill! There was a cold glint in Lu Ming's eyes. With a flash of wind and thunder, he dashed toward the spectator stand of Dragon God Valley. The Divine Sun's great sage weapon battle sword appeared in his hand, and he slashed at the black-robed saint. Poof! The black-robed saint was only an early-stage bright saint, and he was killed by Lu Ming. Swish! Swish! At this time, more than a dozen people rushed out of the Tsang Mountain. They were also saints. They attacked the major sects, and a few of them attacked the Dragon God Valley. There were too many overlords on the other side. Excluding the great saints, there were more than 60 saints, which was more than the saints of the major sections. The other side had obviously planned this. They had been hiding around Tsang Mountain when the major sects were gathered at the top of Tsang Mountain for the treasure meeting. Then they launched a sudden attack. Get lost! The saints of Dragon God Valley fought back, including Lu Ming's second senior brother, Long Yuanshan, and third senior brother, Yang Tianzong. Yang Tianzong was powerful and fought against two powerful black-robed saints alone. But there were too many saints on the other side. Another person broke through the encirclement and attacked Lu Ming and the others. Go to hell! Lu Ming shouted and used the divine sword art, but the other person's body only shook slightly. Two sword auras shot out from his eyes and stabbed at Lu Ming. Divine sword art. Lu Ming was shocked. The other party had also used the divine sword art. These people were from the evil spirit sect. However, Lu Ming's current soul force was extremely powerful. Adding on the fact that he had a spiritual god defensive treasure, he was able to block the opponent's attack. Lu Ming didn't stop moving. His battle sword violently slashed out. Clang! Lu Ming's battle sword clashed with his opponent's battle saber. The other party was a great success bright sage, but Lu Ming's current strength was extremely strong. The other party's body trembled violently and was directly sent flying like a cannonball. Die! Seizing the opportunity, Yang Tianzong turned his palm into a dragon claw and clawed the great achievement Bright Sage Realm expert to death. Brothers, don't resist. Enter my mountain river diagram. Lu Ming hollered. His glabella shone, and the mountain river map flew out. With a sweep, Tian Shui, Xuaningxin, Xiang Xiang, and the other disciples of the Divine Dragon Valley were all sucked into the mountain river map. The other party had too many saints. Those who were below the saint level were almost unable to resist. They would only be killed, so it was better to take them all in. Seeing that the disciples of the Dragon God Valley were taken in, the saints of the Dragon God Valley were energized. They didn't need to take care of the disciples of the Dragon God Valley anymore. The Dragon God Valley didn't suffer any losses, but the other sects had suffered great losses. The black-robed overlords seemed to have placed more of their focus on the young people below the saint level. Some of them broke through the encirclement and attacked the young people. The major sects suffered heavy casualties. "We'll hold them off. You guys go out," someone yelled. "Hold them off." The great saints and saints of the major sects unleashed their full strength and held back the black-robed overlords, giving the young people time to break through the encirclement. Go, go, go! Those who were below the saint level rushed out of Tsang Mountain. However, before they could rush out, a series of attacks burst out from Tsang Mountain and attacked those youths. Immediately, many of them were killed. Swoosh! Swoosh! More figures rushed out of Tsang Mountain. There were so many of them that they were so densely packed that not even a drop of water could trickle through. However, these people weren't saints. They were all half-saints and high-level martial emperors. These people fought fiercely with the disciples of the major sections. It was extremely fierce. Suddenly, an evil-looking young man in a black robe appeared in the sky. He had a cold smile on his face. Behind him stood 4 middle-aged burly men. Their auras were wild and terrifying. They were far more powerful than ordinary saints. The evil-looking young man looked around and finally fixed his eyes on Lu Ming. Cold killing intent flashed in his eyes. "Whoever kills this person will be rewarded." The evil-looking young man pointed at Lu Ming and said. His voice was heard all over the place. Many black-robed saints looked at Lu Ming. "Kill! This guy is mine!" Suddenly, the black-robed saints pounced on Lu Ming. "All of you get lost!" Yang Tianzong roared. His body was covered in dragon scales, as if he had transformed into a real dragon. He tried his best to defend himself, but there were too many people. Although Yang Tianzong was strong and was at the great circle of the bright sage realm, he couldn't fend off too many people. There were still some people who rushed toward Lu Ming. "Junior brother, be careful." Yang Tianzong reminded Long Yuan Mountain. "Kill!" Lu Ming roared. He held his combat sword and the law of primal chaos filled his body as he stepped out. At the same time, bubbles appeared on his shoulder. In this life and death battle, he couldn't care less about bubbles hiding in the pagoda. Hiding in the pagoda would affect his combat strength. Bubbles waved his paws and transparent bubbles appeared one after another, enveloping the 3 black-robed saints. The 3 black-robed saints froze. Lu Ming stepped forward and slashed with his combat sword. 2 of the black-robed saints were killed. Only one of the peak bright sage realm experts broke through the transparent bubbles at the critical moment. He blocked Lu Ming's attack and was sent flying. "Trash! If you go again, this person will definitely die." The sinister youth's voice sounded again in the sky. He seemed to be filled with killing intent toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming looked at this person and was shocked. Although Lu Ming was unfamiliar with this youth's appearance, Lu Ming still remembered the look in his eyes. "Elder demon soul. Your elder demon soul." Lu Ming roared. The sinister youth's expression changed and he sneered. "Kid, your memory is not bad. I didn't expect your cultivation to soar to this level in just a few years. You deserve to die even more." The other party was really Elder Demon Soul. Back then, not long after Lu Ming joined the Dragon God Valley, Yinfeng arranged for him to accept a mission. During this mission, Lu Ming met Elder Demon Soul of the Evil Spirit sect. In the end, he used the prison-suppressing steel to severely injure Elder Demon Soul and destroy his physical body, but his soul escaped. These sinister youths must be Elder Demon Soul's soul that have been possessed and reborn. Evil Spirit sect. The other party is from the Evil Spirit sect. Lu Ming roared, his voice echoing throughout the entire place. Many people were shocked. So they were from the Evil Spirit sect. No wonder they attacked all the sects at the same time. So what if I know? None of you can leave today. Chapter 1704. Elder Emo Hun stood in the air and said coldly. More experts rushed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming and Bubble cooperated and fought a bloody battle. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, no one could kill him unless they were in the great circle of the Bright Saint realm. All of you, make your move and end this quickly. Elder Emo Hun ordered the 4 middle-aged men behind him. Yes, the 4 middle-aged men nodded. Their expressions were somewhat stiff. Then they stepped forward, emitting a terrifying aura. This was the aura of a supreme sage. Everyone's expression changed drastically. The other party had 4 supreme sages, enough to turn this battle around. One of them stepped out and charged towards Lu Ming. Not good. Yang Tianzong, Long Yuanshan, and the others were shocked. Lu Ming stood no chance against a supreme sage expert. Lu Ming had no chance. Kill. The man with the wooden face struck out with his palm, and a terrifying palm print blasted towards Lu Ming. The terrifying pressure made Lu Ming's expression turn grim. Lu Ming retreated quickly, but the palm print followed him like a shadow. Chirp chirp. Bubble waved his claws and the space fluctuated. The law of time and space flowed, and a powerful force acted on the middle-aged man. But the other party's cultivation was too strong. Every move of a supreme sage expert could destroy mountains and rivers. Saint energy surged in the middle-aged man's body and broke through the law of time and space. He continued to charge towards Lu Ming. Boom! With a palm strike, Lu Ming's figure shattered like a mirror. A few hundred meters away, Lu Ming's figure appeared with a serious look in his eyes. A supreme sage was too strong. He couldn't resist at all. Bam! The middle-aged man continued to step out and stared at Lu Ming. His speed was astonishingly fast as he approached Lu Ming. Roar! A dragon roar was heard as a purple true dragon pounced towards the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man threw out a palm strike and collided with the purple true void. His body was forced back. There was a flash of purple light, and the Valley Master of Purple Dragon Valley appeared beside Lu Ming. At this moment, the Valley Master of Purple Dragon Valley was covered with purple dragon scales. They were sparkling and translucent, as if they were made of purple jade. There were also 2 dragon horns on the Valley Master of Purple Dragon Valley. This was the manifestation of the purple dragon combat body that had been unleashed to the extreme. The Purple Dragon Valley Master came to Lu Ming's side. His opponent also charged towards the Purple Dragon Valley Master. Let's gather together and charge out together. The Valley Master of the Purple Dragon Valley roared. He stretched out his claw and blocked the other party's attack. Thereafter, his quintessential essence swirled, and he carried Lu Ming with him. That's right, let's gather together. A great sage from the Life and Death Sword faction shouted. Gather! The supreme sages from the other sects shouted the sages, and ordinary disciples of all the sects began to gather. The people from the Dragon God Valley and the Life and Death Sword sect were the first to gather. After they gathered together, they formed a circle around each other and went into a defensive state, defending with all their might. Then, after paying some price, the other sects also slowly gathered together. At first, it was 1 or 2 or 3 sects that gathered together. Slowly, all the sects gathered together. In the end, even the people from the Heavenly God sect rushed over after paying a heavy price, and gathered with everyone. Lu Ming glanced over, and saw that at least half of the Heavenly God sect's people were dead. There were originally thousands of people, but now there were less than 2,000 people left. The losses were extremely heavy. However, Xian Yinjuan was clearly under heavy protection, and was not seriously affected. The 13 sects gathered together, and formed a circle. There were people from the evil spirit sect all around. They surrounded everyone and attacked continuously. However, the combined forces of the 13 top sects were able to fend off the enemy's attack. There are too many people below the Sage Realm. It's difficult to charge out. Someone said. Those below the Sage Realm, enter my mountain and river painting. Lu Ming shouted, and the mountain and river painting floated out. It's a Grotto Heaven treasure. Yes, enter the Grotto Heaven treasure. Don't resist. The great sage experts all roared in unison. If everyone below the Sage Realm entered the mountain and river painting, it would be much easier for them to break out of the encirclement. In the sky, Elder Demon Soul's face was gloomy. He shouted coldly, attack. Swoosh. Swoosh. The moment Elder Demon Soul's voice fell, terrifying saber auras burst out. These saber auras didn't attack Lu Ming and the others from the outside, but from the inside. The people of the intentionless saber sect attacked the other sects at this time. Intentionless saber sect, you traitors! The great sage of the heavenly god sect let out a crazy roar, because a great sage of the intentionless saber sect had pierced his dantian and shattered his saint heart. Once a sage's saint heart was shattered, his cultivation would be crippled. He had never dreamed that the people of the intentionless saber sect would suddenly betray him. Damn it! The others were also furious. The heavenly god sect and the demonic moon sect were close to the intentionless saber sect. These two sects had been attacked by the intentionless saber sect and suffered heavy losses. The most shocking thing was that there was more than one great sage in the intentionless saber sect. There were actually several of them, and they attacked. The 13 sects were immediately in chaos. Obviously, this was premeditated long ago. Kill! The surrounding evil spirit sect cultivators took this opportunity to charge over. The defenses of the various sects in the Tsang province were instantly destroyed. The most miserable ones were the heavenly god sect and the demonic moon sect. The great sages of the two sects were killed. Defend! Purple Dragon Valley Master shouted. The Dragon God Valley and the Life and Death Sword sects stood together and defended with all their strength. Kill! Lu Ming cooperated with Bubbles and killed 2 Sage Realm experts in a row. His body was bathed in sage blood. Intentionless Saber Sect, you've already joined the Evil Spirit Sect. Aren't you afraid of the revenge of all the sects in the Tsang state? Someone shouted. Haha, as long as we kill all of you today, who will know that the Intentionless Saber Sect is related to the Evil Spirit Sect? A great sage of the Intentionless Saber Sect sneered. Everyone's hearts turned cold. That's right. If they all died today, who would know that the Intentionless Saber Sect had joined the Evil Spirit Sect? The Intentionless Saber Sect could continue to mingle with the various sects in the Tsang state. At the critical moment, they could give the various sects a fatal blow. You won't succeed. Someone roared. Ha ha ha. My Evil Spirit Sect will rise again. We will be unstoppable. High in the sky, Elder Demon Soul sneered. Roar. At this moment, an earth-shattering roar sounded. The heavens shook, and the earth shook as if an ancient beast was roaring. Then in the distant sky, an incomparably huge golden claw stretched over. The claw was covered with golden hair, and it grabbed at Elder Demon Soul. Elder Demon Soul's expression changed drastically as he shouted, "An absolute sage! Lord, it's the Lord!" Many experts of the Demon Castle shouted excitedly. The others were also very excited. They never expected that the Demon Castle's Lord would come here at this time. But at this moment, a terrifying sword light slashed down from the sky toward the golden claw. Boom! Chapter 1705. Roar. In the distance a roar rang out. A golden lion as big as a mountain stepped through the air and appeared in front of everyone. This was the Demon Castle's Lord, a sun god lion. In the sky, a black-robed man with a sword on his back appeared and confronted the Demon Castle's Lord. Everyone's hearts trembled. The Evil Spirit Sect also had a supreme sage hidden here, and had not made a move before. Demon Castle's Lord, I didn't expect you to come here. Fortunately, I was prepared and brought a supreme sage here just in case. Elder Demon Soul said coldly. However, his expression was still ugly. The Demon Castle's Lord's sudden arrival had already disrupted his plan. Is that so? What about us? Did you expect that? At this moment a cold voice came from afar. Then, a sword light crossed the endless void and instantly appeared at the peak of Tsang Mountain. The sword light turned, and instantly, 3 Evil Spirit Sect great sages were killed. Blood splattered everywhere. The others were terrified and frantically retreated. It's the Life and Death Sword. The sect master is here. The people of the Life and Death Sword sect were overjoyed. Only then did everyone see that the sword light just now was a black and white sword that emanated a terrifying sword aura. In the distance, 2 figures appeared in the air. One of them was a middle-aged man wearing a black and white robe. The black and white longsword pierced through the air and flew into his hand. This person was the life and death sword sect master. The other person was an old man with a gentle expression. Master. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. The person who appeared with the life and death sword sect master was actually the Cloud Dragon Valley master. Lu Ming's master. Master, it's master. Isn't master busy? Why is he here? Long Yuanshan and Yang Tianzong exclaimed. As for Elder Demon Soul, his expression was extremely ugly. How could this be? Why would so many experts appear in Song Mountain? Why would the life and death sword sect master and the demon castle's lord appear in Song Mountain for no reason? Although the treasure ranking meeting was important, no sect master had ever come, right? After all, it was a competition among the younger generation. Even if the sect master came, it would not be of much help. Attack! Annihilate the evil spirit sect demons. The headmaster of the life and death sword faction spoke. He took a step forward, and sword light filled the sky as he charged towards Elder Demonic Soul. Kill! The demon castle lord charged toward the evil spirit sect's absolute sage expert. As for the Cloud Dragon Valley master, he took a step forward and appeared at the peak of Song Mountain. Sword light bloomed in his hand and poured out in torrents. Puff! Puff! The two evil spirit sect great sages were unable to resist in front of the Cloud Dragon Valley master and were directly killed. Then, with a sweep of the sword light, more than a dozen bright saints were killed. Unable to resist, they could only be slaughtered. Lu Ming was once again shocked by the strength of the Cloud Dragon Valley master. Was the Cloud Dragon Valley lord also an absolute saint? Retreat, retreat! The great sage of the evil spirit sect roared. He knew that the situation was hopeless. Kill them all! The great sages of more than a dozen sects roared and launched a counterattack. They charged toward the other party, not allowing them to retreat. At the scene, the people with the ugliest expressions were the people from the intentionless saber sect. They knew that they were finished and wanted to break out frantically. However, how could the experts of the other sects let them break out? They were tightly entangled. The Cloud Dragon Valley master held a long sword in his hand. His expression was gentle, but with every step he took, an expert died. It was the same whether it was a great sage or a bright saint. In the blink of an eye, the number of great sages who died at the hands of the Cloud Dragon Valley master reached 7. Puff! A middle-aged man with the strength of a great sage was split in half by the Cloud Dragon Valley master. At this moment, a scream came from the sky. Elder Demonic Soul's head was cut off by the life and death sword faction sect master. Although Elder Demonic Soul's cultivation base was high, he had been severely injured 80,000 years ago. Later, his physical body was destroyed by Lu Ming with the fragments of the prison-suppressing steel. Although he was lucky and found a suitable person to possess, his cultivation base was far from recovering to its peak. How could he be a match for the life and death sword faction sect master? After his physical body was cut off, Elder Demonic Soul's soul escaped. It was the image of an old man, exactly the same as the one Lu Ming had seen back then. Elder Demonic Soul's soul wanted to escape, but the life and death sword faction's sect master slashed out with his sword, and Elder Demonic Soul's soul was destroyed. Ah, the evil spirit sect will avenge me! Elder Mo Hun let out a roar of unwillingness as his soul dissipated into thin air. This expert from 80,000 years ago, an old monster who had struggled at death's door for 80,000 years, was finally destroyed. Brother Yun, you killed too slowly. After killing Elder Demonic Soul, the life and death sword faction's sect master stepped down. A terrifying sword light bloomed from his hand, turning into thousands of sword chi that charged toward the evil spirit sect members. One by one, the evil spirit sect members were harvested like wheat, falling in large batches. The Cloud Dragon Valley master smiled slightly and took a step forward. He appeared in front of a great sage and killed him with a sword. With the life and death sword faction and the Cloud Dragon Valley master joining in, there was no longer any suspense in this battle. They couldn't even escape. Soon they were all killed. Only the members of the intentionless saber sect were left. Their faces were pale, as they were surrounded by the experts of the other sections. Roar! High up in the sky, The Demon Castle's fort master was still fighting with the evil spirit sect's experts. I'll go and lend him a hand. The Life and Death Sword faction's sect master's killing intent was cold. He turned into a sword light and soared into the sky. A terrifying sword scar appeared between heaven and earth. Poof! That evil spirit sect expert let out a miserable cry. He had been hit by the sword and was almost cut in half by the Life and Death Sword faction's sect master. Kill! The Life and Death Sword faction's sect master's battle prowess was incomparably terrifying. Once the Life and Death Sword art was used, he would live and you would die. His battle prowess was clearly stronger than the Demon Castle's fort master and that evil spirit sect expert. The sword light slashed past, and one of the evil spirit sect's expert's arms was cut off. Roar! The Demon Castle's fort master was as big as a mountain. His golden fur flickered, and the sun flames spread out. The sun god lion was undoubtedly a terrifying divine beast. A lion's roar shook the other party's soul. Bam! Then, he clawed out and scratched the other party's body, causing the other party to vomit large mouthfuls of blood. Then, the Life and Death Sword faction's sect master slashed down and directly split the other party in half. An absolute saint had fallen. At this point, all the evil spirit sect members who had appeared this time had been annihilated. Now that there was no the arch in the Tsang state, absolute saints were the strongest experts who stood at the peak. They were incomparably powerful and were the king of the saints. They were much stronger than great sages. Once an absolute saint appeared, they could change the situation of the battle. If an absolute saint is so powerful, what about a martial emperor? How terrifying would a martial emperor look down on the world? I really don't know how terrifying that is. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. Why are you here? Chapter 1706. The experts of the intentionless saber sect understood that not only were they finished, but the intentionless saber sect was also finished. They sighed. They were too unlucky to have met the Cloud Dragon Valley Master, the Demon Castle Master, and the Life and Death Sword Sect Master. Do you think it's a coincidence that we're here? We've been here for a long time, waiting for the intentionless saber sect to make a move. If you don't make a move, how will we suppress the intentionless saber sect in the future? The Life and Death Sword Sect Master said coldly. What? You've been here for a long time? Did you already know that the intentionless saber sect had joined the evil spirit sect? The great sage of the intentionless saber sect was in disbelief. They had been very secretive about their actions. Of course, we've been investigating this matter all this time, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. 3 years ago, my disciple Lu Ming encountered an assassination attempt by the evil spirit sect on his way back from the Tsang Mountain. According to him, the intentionless saber sect was the one who attacked. Therefore, all these years, the Demon Castle Master, the Life and Death Sword Sect Master, and I have been secretly investigating. As expected, we found some clues. However, you hid it very well, and we didn't have any evidence. Therefore, we could only wait for you to make a move yourselves. Many people were shocked. So that was the case. 3 years ago, Lu Ming actually encountered an assassination attempt by the evil spirit sect. 3 years ago, so that was the case. That time, we didn't expect Lu Ming to survive. We tried our best, but the heavens didn't protect us. The intentionless saber sect's great sage sighed. He didn't expect that everything would be ruined by Lu Ming. If Lu Ming hadn't survived 3 years ago and told the Cloud Dragon Valley Master that the intentionless saber sect might have colluded with the evil spirit sect, today's incident wouldn't have happened. Their plan would definitely have been carried out smoothly. Kill them. There's no need to talk to them. The Demon Castle Master said with a ferocious look in his eyes. He stretched out his golden claws and grabbed at the people of the intentionless saber sect. The people of the intentionless saber sect were unwilling and wanted to resist. But in the hands of an absolute sage, resistance was futile. In the end, they were killed one by one. Ming, are you all alright? The Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley stepped forward and came before Lu Ming, Long Yuanshan, and Yang Tianzong. Master, if you don't make a move, we'll be finished. Yang Tianzong said bitterly. You rascal, are you blaming me for being late? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master scolded jokingly. Disciple doesn't dare. Yang Tianzong said. This time, it is of utmost importance to lure out the people of the thoughtless saber sect to attack. If we had attacked earlier, the people of the thoughtless saber sect would definitely not have attacked. Of course, if you guys had really encountered danger, how could I not have attacked? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. Lu Ming, Long Yuanshan, and the rest nodded. That was indeed the case. If the Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the others had made their move earlier, the people of the intentionless saber sect would not have made their move. Ming-er, you performed very well this time. Looks like you've gained a lot from the 100-clan battlefield. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master looked at Lu Ming with satisfaction. To be honest, Lu Ming's performance had exceeded his expectations. Previously, he had also witnessed the battle between Lu Ming and the Divine Sun. I still have to thank Master. Lu Ming cupped his fists. Come on, let's go back. Someone spoke. Lu Ming looked over and saw that it was the people of the Heavenly Divinity Sect. This time, the Heavenly Divinity Sect had suffered a great loss. A great saint was killed, and more than half of their disciples were killed. Most of the people who came to the treasure ranking meeting were the elites of the younger generation. Such a great loss was a heavy blow to the Heavenly Divinity Sect. One could imagine that there would be a gap in the experts of the Heavenly Divinity Sect in the future. A force without new blood to pass on its legacy was very scary. Come on, let's go back. Following that, the sects began to return. Today's matter must be reported to the sects as soon as possible. Some people expressed their gratitude to the Cloud Dragon Valley Master, the Life and Death Sword faction leader, and the Demon Fort Lord before leaving. At this time, Lu Ming released Zifeng, Tian Shui, and the rest from the Mountain River diagram. When they learned of the situation, they were shocked. Alright, let's return to the Dragon God Valley, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. After saying that, he waved his hand, and a battle sword flew out of his hand. It rapidly expanded to 10,000 meters long and a few hundred meters wide. Thousands of disciples of the Dragon God Valley stepped on the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's sword and flew back to the Dragon God Valley. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master's speed was astonishing. Even with thousands of people, his speed was still very fast. In less than a day, they returned to the Dragon God Valley. A few days later, the Battle of Tsang Mountain quickly spread throughout the entire Tsang state. Countless people were dumbfounded. No one had imagined that the treasure meeting this time would actually be so brilliant and so soul-stirring. First, Lu Ming rose as a dark horse. He killed Luo Shuihan and took first place in the treasure ranking meeting. After that, he fought against the Divine Sun and launched a great battle. Lu Ming broke through in the battle and killed the Divine Sun. From then on, Lu Ming was the #1 monster in the Tsang state. After that, there was the matter of the evil spirit sect besieging the major sections. In the battle, the intentionless saber sect rebelled. Every single one of these matters was unbelievable and shocking. As for Lu Ming, his name shook the Tsang state and was remembered by countless people. After another 10 days, a piece of news spread throughout the Tsang state. The 12 major sects of the Tsang state had joined forces and sent out a great army to attack the intentionless saber sect. However, when the experts of the 12 sects arrived, the intentionless saber sect was already empty. All the experts had already retreated, leaving behind only a few people with low cultivation. Where did the experts of the intentionless saber sect go? However, some people guessed that the intentionless saber sect was most likely still in the Tsang state. Furthermore, there was another guess that was even more frightening. Since the intentionless saber sect could join the evil spirit sect, then would the other 12 top sects of the Tsang state also join the evil spirit sect? Could the intentionless saber sect be hiding in one of these sects? The moment this guess was made, the Tsang state was shaken. The 12 top sects were on guard against each other. That was because this guess was very likely. For a time, the various sects of the Tsang state were in turmoil. However, there was one thing that would not change. From now on, there would no longer be 13 top sects in the Tsang state. There would only be 12. During this period of time, Lu Ming had been in seclusion in the Cloud Dragon Valley to stabilize his cultivation. As for Ming Lian's second body, it was also recovering at full strength. A month after the Tsang Mountain battle, Ming Lian's second body had already completely recovered. As for the arm that was chopped off, it had long since grown back. In fact, Ming Lian's second body's cultivation was showing signs of improving. After all, Lu Ming's main body had already reached the realm of the law vessel. Both the main body and the second body were the same person and had the same experience. The second body was not far from the law vessel. As for Bubble, it seemed to be about to break through and was sleeping soundly in the mountain river diagram. On this day, Lu Ming paid a visit to the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. Ming-er, you want the fragment of the prison suppressing steel? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master asked in surprise. Yes, Master. Disciple's other bloodline is the prison suppressing steel. The fragment of the prison suppressing steel is very useful to Disciple. Chapter 1707. Lu Ming revealed the bloodline of the prison suppressing monument. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master was shocked to see the prison suppressing monument floating above Lu Ming's head. It was his first time seeing Lu Ming's prison suppressing monument bloodline. Moreover, Lu Ming had already collected a fragment of the prison suppressing monument. After pondering for a while, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master said, Ming-er, it's all thanks to you that we were able to obtain 2 ancient treasures this time. Furthermore, to the sect, the other treasure is useful. The prison suppressing monument fragment is just a bonus and is not of much use. It's not a big problem for me to get it for you. Thank you, Master. Lu Ming was overjoyed. You deserve it. However, there's a problem. 3 years later, when the treasure pedestal meeting begins, it'll be hard to explain to the other sects. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said, if the other sects come first 3 years later, I'll hand it over then. Lu Ming said. At most, Lu Ming would think of a way to let the Dragon God Valley come first 3 years later. That way, he wouldn't have to hand over the fragment of the prison suppressing monument. Lu Ming wasn't strong enough. If Lu Ming had the strength to dominate the Tsang continent, he would have kept the fragment of the prison suppressing monument. No one would dare to say no. All right, I'll come to you in a few days, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. As expected, 2 days later, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master found Lu Ming and handed the fragment of the prison suppressing monument to Lu Ming. With Lu Ming's talent and performance at the treasure pedestal meeting, he had gained the attention of the upper echelons of the Dragon God Valley. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master went to ask for the fragment of the prison suppressing monument for Lu Ming. The only person who stopped him was the Silver Dragon Valley Master. However, the Silver Dragon Valley Master couldn't go against the will of the others. After getting the fragment of the prison suppressing monument, Lu Ming entered the mountain river diagram and took it out. 1. As soon as Lu Ming took out the prison suppressing steel fragment, it flew into the air and emitted a mysterious fluctuation. There were gaps on both sides of this piece, and in the middle there was the word prison. The energy fluctuations it emitted were exactly the same as Lu Ming's spirit suppressing steel. It really is a fragment of the prison suppressing monument. It's a part of the middle. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He felt the prison suppressing steel's bloodline in his spine become restless. With a single thought, the bloodline of the suppressing prison monument appeared and emitted a blinding light. 1. The fragment of the prison suppressing steel seemed to resonate strongly with the prison suppressing steel. It vibrated violently and then flew towards the bloodline of the prison suppressing steel. It leaned against the fragment of the prison suppressing steel. The gap between the two was exactly the same. When the two of them leaned against each other, the light on the prison suppressing steel grew even brighter. It was incomparably resplendent, and there was a sense of vicissitudes that was being emitted from it. Lu Ming could faintly feel a terrifying suppressive force, as if it could suppress the heavens. The prison suppressing heavenly skill. At this time, another piece of information appeared in Lu Ming's mind. It was the information of the prison suppressing heavenly skill. This piece of information was mostly the same as the one Lu Ming had received before, but it was more complete and exquisite. The prison suppressing heavenly skill can be even stronger. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He carefully comprehended it. In the blink of an eye, 5 days had passed. Lu Ming finally ended his cultivation and put away the prison-suppressing steel. He then exited the mountain river diagram and flew out of the Dragon God Valley, arriving at a barren land. Boom! Lu Ming struck out with his palm. His palm seemed to have turned into a lifelike prison-suppressing steel, and it slammed towards a barren mountain. The mountain was directly shattered into pieces, scattering in all directions. Following this, Lu Ming's thoughts moved. The illusionary figure of the prison-suppressing steel suddenly appeared around him. Following this, the illusionary figure of the prison-suppressing steel increased. And in the end, there were 12 of them, pressing towards the ground. Boom! Boom! The ground trembled violently, and terrifying cracks appeared on it. The power of the prison-suppressing heavenly skill has indeed become stronger and more mysterious. Lu Ming's eyes lit up with joy. The prison-suppressing heavenly skill was originally very mysterious. As his cultivation level increased, its power would also continue to increase. It seemed to be borrowing the power of the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline. Now the 2 fragments of the prison-suppressing steel had merged into one. Without a doubt, when Lu Ming used the prison-suppressing heavenly skill, its power had skyrocketed, surpassing that of the chaotic flipping sky seal. Yes, when Lu Ming used the prison-suppressing heavenly skill now, its power had surpassed that of the chaotic flipping sky seal. After all, the chaotic flipping sky seal was only a domain martial technique. However, Lu Ming had now comprehended the law of chaos, and the power of the domain martial technique could no longer keep up. Unless Lu Ming comprehended a superpower technique based on the law of chaos. However, the superpower technique required one to enter the martial sage realm and have the saint power. Only by combining the saint power and the law could one successfully cultivate it. In the chaos scripture, there was a superpower technique related to the law of chaos. However, it was astonishingly difficult to comprehend a superpower technique. Unless one was extremely talented, it would be difficult for an ordinary saint to comprehend it. In fact, there were superpower techniques in the 13 top sects of the Tsang state. However, Lu Ming had encountered so many saints, and none of them had succeeded in comprehending it. Otherwise, Lu Ming might not have been able to kill enemies who were of a higher realm. Lu Ming experimented for a while more before returning to the Cloud Dragon Valley to continue cultivating. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed since the treasure sorting meet. On this day, Lu Ming left the Dragon God Valley and turned into a stream of light, disappearing into the horizon. A few days later, Lu Ming arrived at the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect. He and Xian Yanqing had not seen each other for a long time, and he missed him. In addition, Xian Yanqing did not appear at the treasure sorting meet, which made Lu Ming feel inexplicably worried. Since he was free now, he came to see Xian Yanqing and gave some phoenix incense wood to Xian Yanqing. Ahead, many demon mountains appeared in front of him. Stop! In front of the gate of the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect, Lu Ming was blocked by 2 young men. Who are you? What are you doing in the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect? One of the young men asked. I'm Lu Ming, and I'm here to see Saintess Nianqing. Please inform her. Lu Ming said. What? You're Lu Ming? The 2 young men's faces changed as they looked at Lu Ming in surprise. Now Lu Ming was too famous in the Tsang state. Everyone in the big sects knew him. Yes, Lu Ming of the Dragon God Valley. Lu Ming nodded. I'm afraid you've come at a bad time. Our saintess is in seclusion and will not see any guests. One of the young men said. In seclusion? Lu Ming frowned and said, please inform her. If Saintess Nianqing knows I'm here, she will definitely see me. Lu Ming, I've said that our saintess is in seclusion and will not see any outsiders. Hurry up and leave. The young man said again, and his face turned cold. Lu Ming frowned even more. He had been sending messages to Xian Yanqing, but it did not go out. Was he really in seclusion? But even if he was in seclusion, as long as it was not too important, it was fine to send a message. The 2 of you, please send a message to your sect master. I would like to pay my respects to your sect master, Lu Ming said. Chapter 1708. Lu Ming, don't be so ungrateful. The sect leader of the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect is not someone you can meet whenever you want. You should leave now. A young man berated, his tone getting worse and worse. I've already asked for a meeting, but you're trying to stop me. I can only meet the sect leader of the demon sect myself. Lu Ming's face was cold, as he had lost his patience. Boom. Lu Ming took a step forward, and his powerful aura shook the two young men away. Lu Ming, how dare you make a move in the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect? You're dead meat. The two young men shouted, but they quickly retreated, not daring to stop Lu Ming. At this time, there was a sound of something breaking through the air in the distance. Several young men stepped forward, and the one in the lead was Mo Yang. What's going on? Lu Ming, is that you? Mo Yang scolded. He swept his gaze around and discovered Lu Ming. His expression changed. Senior brother Mo Yang, Lu Ming wants to see Saintess Nianqing. I said that Saintess Nianqing is in seclusion and will not see anyone. So he wants to barge in. A young man shouted. Lu Ming, how dare you? Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you have some strength. You're still far from being arrogant in the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect. Mo Yang berated him with a cold face. Oh, so you want to fight me? Lu Ming stepped forward and said indifferently. You. Mo Yang's face turned ugly, and he retreated again and again, fear flashing in his eyes. Fight with Lu Ming? What a joke. Lu Ming could probably kill him with a slap. How would he dare? If you don't dare to fight, then get lost. I want to meet the sect leader of the demon sect. Lu Ming reprimanded and strode into the house. Stop. At this time, a voice was heard, and a powerful force shrouded Lu Ming, stopping him in his tracks. Then, a demonic light flashed, and a beautiful middle-aged woman appeared in front of Lu Ming. Master. When Mo Yang saw this, he hurriedly saluted and revealed a look of joy. This beautiful middle-aged woman was the master of the Sky Universe Demon Sect, Xian Yanqing's master. Lu Ming greets the sect leader of the Devil Sect. Lu Ming saluted, neither servile nor overbearing. Master, this Lu Ming is arrogant and despotic. He doesn't put our Heavenly Universe Demon Sect in his eyes at all. He wants to force his way into the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect. Master, please take him down and destroy his cultivation. As Mo Yang spoke, his eyes flashed with a cold light. Lu Ming had a calm expression on his face. He had only come to see the Sky Universe Devil Sect. He didn't believe that the sect leader of the Sky Universe Devil Sect, an overlord of a region, would act against him. If that happened, it might trigger a war between the Sky Universe Demon Sect and the Dragon God Valley. Alright, I already know about this. The Sky Universe Demon Sect master nodded and asked Mo Yang to step aside. He then looked at Lu Ming and said, You're here to see Nianqing, right? Yes, please pass the message on my behalf, Sect Master. Lu Ming said, I'm afraid you won't be able to see Nianqing for a while. She's already in seclusion and is focused on breaking through to the Saint Realm. She can't be disturbed. The Sky Universe Demon Sect Master said, Breaking through to the Saint Realm? Lu Ming nodded and said, Then may I ask how long it will take for her to come out of seclusion? At least a year. At most 3 to 5 years. It's hard to say. If it's for Nianqing's sake, please go back. When Nianqing comes out of seclusion, I will ask her to see you. The Sky Universe Demon Sect Master said. Lu Ming frowned. He had a bad feeling in his heart, but he didn't know why. He couldn't help but think of more than 3 years ago. When he came to the Sky Universe Demon Sect, he was hunted down by the Sky Universe Demon Sect on his way back. On the surface, the hunt seemed to be out of jealousy between young people. But Lu Ming had a feeling that it wasn't that simple. However, what the Sky Universe Demon Sect Master said was flawless, and he couldn't find a reason to refute it. If he insisted on seeing Xian Yanqing, it would mean that he wasn't thinking about Xian Yanqing. Then I'll take my leave. If Nianqing comes out of seclusion, please pass the message, Lu Ming said. Of course. The Sky Universe Demon Sect Master said. Thank you, Senior. Lu Ming cupped his fists, then turned and left, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. Master, why didn't you take the opportunity to cripple this kid? Do you want me to bring some experts to kill this kid halfway, and let him rise? He'll be a big threat to the Sky Universe Demon Sect. Mo Yang whispered. With Lu Ming's current achievements and talent, do you think the experts of Dragon God Valley would let him go out without worry? The Sky Universe Demon Sect Master said. Mo Yang's face changed, and he said, Master, are you saying that there are experts secretly protecting Lu Ming? No matter what. At this time we can't alert the enemy. Let's go back. After saying that, the Sky Universe Demon Sect Master's figure disappeared. After leaving the Sky Universe Demon Sect, Lu Ming frowned. He always felt that this matter was very strange, but he couldn't put his finger on it. I hope I'm overthinking. Let's wait for Nianqing to come out of seclusion. Lu Ming thought to himself as he headed toward Dragon God Valley. After returning to Dragon God Valley, Lu Ming continued his seclusion to strengthen his foundation and prepare to break through to the Saint Realm. Time passed day after day in a hurry. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed since the treasure sorting convention. During this year, the major forces in Songzhou were very peaceful, and Songzhou entered a rare period of stability. The experts of the major forces seemed to have disappeared. When this news came out, the world was shaken, and Lu Ming was once again pushed to the forefront of the storm. The fact that Lu Ming was the only one who had entered the core of Emperor Tsong's bedroom palace was dug up again. Following that, there was another piece of news saying that the reason why Lu Ming could rise so quickly and his battle strength was so shocking was because he had obtained Emperor Tsong's inheritance and treasures. This series of news made most people believe that Lu Ming must have obtained Emperor Tsong's inheritance and storage ring. All the major sects in Song State turned their attention to Dragon God Valley. Who wouldn't be tempted by Emperor Tsong's inheritance and treasures? Lu Ming, a person from a small island overseas, could rise against the heavens just because he had obtained Emperor Tsong's inheritance and treasures. If a non-Saint martial emperor could reach such a level, then what about others? A terrifying storm was brewing in Song State. A storm was coming. At the peak of a snowy mountain in Dragon God Valley, Lu Ming stood still with his brows tightly knitted. Who was it that said that he had obtained Emperor Tsong's storage ring? Could it be the Soul Extinguisher King? The Soul Extinguisher King is not dead? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Previously, when many experts entered Emperor Tsong's palace, they only found Emperor Tsong's body, but not the Soul Extinguisher King's body. It was very likely that the Soul Extinguisher King was not dead. In the world, the Soul Extinguisher King was the only one who saw Lu Ming obtain Emperor Tsong's storage ring. Maybe it was the Soul Extinguisher King who took Emperor Tsong's world core and then spread the news. At this moment, a figure stepped on the air and landed beside Lu Ming. Master. Lu Ming bowed and cupped his fists. This person was the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. Ming. You should have heard the news from the outside world, right? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. Yes. Lu Ming nodded. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master pondered for a moment and said, Ming, did you obtain Emperor Tsong's inheritance and treasures? I only obtained Emperor Tsong's storage ring, but not the inheritance. Lu Ming did not hide and said directly. Chapter 1710. You really obtained the Azure Thearch's treasure. Ming, your fortuitous opportunity is really not bad. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master's eyes lit up, and a smile appeared on his face. But soon after, his expression turned serious again. Ming, who else knows about this matter? How did it leak out? There is only one person, and that is the Soul Extinguishing King of the Evil Spirit Sect. Back then, when he fought with the Azure Thearch, Lu Ming briefly recounted what had happened when he had met the Azure Thearch and the Soul Extinguishing King. The Soul Extinguishing King and the Evil Spirit Sect are really ruthless. They are trying to instigate a civil war in Song State. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master frowned. The other party had spread the news that Lu Ming had obtained the Azure Thearch's inheritance and storage ring. But in fact, Lu Ming had not obtained the Azure Thearch's inheritance at all. In this way, even if Lu Ming handed over the Azure Thearch's storage ring, it would be useless. Because if he could not hand over the Azure Thearch's inheritance, It would definitely cause a civil war in Song State. This was the evil spirit sect's scheme. Ming-Er, the Azure Thearch's storage ring is your own fortuitous opportunity. You should keep it well. No one can take it even if they want to. A sharp light flashed in the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's eyes. At this moment, a commotion could be heard outside the Cloud Dragon Valley. Lu Ming, come out. A voice came from afar. It's that old fellow. Lu Ming furrowed his brows. Lu Ming knew that it was the Silver Dragon Valley Master when he heard the voice. Haha, this old fellow is really fast. I want to see what he is here for. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said coldly. Then a voice rang out. Let them in. As the voice rang out, the Cloud Dragon Valley disciples let them in. Then, they saw the Silver Dragon Valley Master, leading a group of people over in an aggressive manner. Inzheng, why did you bring your men to my Cloud Dragon Valley in such an aggressive manner? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master asked. Of course I'm here for Lu Ming. The Silver Dragon Valley Master looked at Lu Ming and sneered. Lu Ming, you're really selfish. You obtained Emperor Song's inheritance and treasures, but you didn't say anything and kept them for yourself. Don't forget who brought you here from that desolate island. If I hadn't brought you from that desolate island to Dragon God Valley, would you still be here today? But you've obtained the Azure Emperor's inheritance and treasures, yet you want to monopolize them. Now hand them over and share them with us. The Valley Master of the Silver Dragon Valley looked at Lu Ming with a burning gaze, his eyes full of greed. The people who had come with Valley Master Silver Dragon all had burning gazes. Haha, what a joke! The Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley said coldly, I can tell you that Lu Ming did not obtain Monarch Song's succession or treasure. Furthermore, even if Lu Ming did obtain it, it is his own fortunate encounter. No one can take it away from him. Yin Ruoxu stopped quibbling. Who would believe that Lu Ming did not obtain Monarch Song's succession or treasure? If he didn't have the inheritance and treasures of Emperor Song, how could a person who came from a desolate island have today's achievements? Moreover, he took out dozens of saint weapons at the treasure sorting meeting. How dare you say that he did not obtain Monarch Song's treasure? Yin Ruoxu, you want to keep it and share it with Lu Ming, right? Moreover, he only obtained it because of the sect's power. Therefore, he must hand it over. The Valley Master of the Silver Dragon Valley said, his eyes flashing with a cold light. Haha, if you have to hand over the opportunity that others obtained, then why don't you hand over the opportunity that you obtained? Inzheng? Don't say that you did not obtain the opportunity. If you did not obtain the opportunity, how could you have cultivated to such a level? The Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley said coldly, any martial artist who had some achievements would more or less have some opportunities. For a top expert to be born, one's talent, hard work, and perseverance were indispensable. However, opportunities were also indispensable. Humph! The opportunity that I obtained is not comparable to Monarch Song's inheritance and treasure. Today, Lu Ming must hand it over. The Valley Master of the Silver Dragon Valley said arrogantly. Scram! The Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley stepped forward. A terrifying aura burst out from his body and pressed down on the Valley Master of the Silver Dragon Valley. Yin Ruoxu, what are you doing? This is the Dragon God Valley. I came here with reason. How dare you attack me? The Dragon God Valley does not belong to you alone. The Valley Master of the Silver Dragon Valley shouted. However, he was greeted by a terrifying sword radiance. The Valley Master of the Silver Dragon Valley roared, and his body was covered in a bright silver light. However, the sword radiance flashed and the silver light on his body collapsed. His face was covered in blood. One of his ears had been cut off by the Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley. If you don't scram, the next strike will be your head. The Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley said coldly. Yin Ruoxu, you wait here. I'll report this to the Valley Master. The Valley Master of the Silver Dragon Valley was enraged. Fear flashed across his eyes. In the end, he did not dare to stay and left. What a clown! The Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley said indifferently. He then looked at Lu Ming and said, Ming-Er, cultivate well. Don't think too much. With me around, no one can touch you. Lu Ming was touched. He bowed respectfully and said, Thank you, Master. There's no need to thank me. I'm your master. It's my duty to protect you. I'll take my leave first. The Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley said with a smile. He then stepped into the air and left. Lu Ming continued to sit cross-legged on the peak of the snowy mountain and cultivated quietly. In the blink of an eye, another 3 days passed. Roar! On this day, an earth-shattering dragon roar was heard in the Dragon God Valley. Lu Ming woke up from his cultivation and looked in the direction of the Dragon God Valley. There, the shadow of a real dragon soared into the sky and a light screen formed. Enemy attack! A voice reverberated throughout the Dragon God Valley, breaking the silence of the Dragon God Valley. In the Dragon God Valley, countless figures soared into the sky and gathered at the entrance of the Dragon God Valley. They're fast. There was a sharp glint in Lu Ming's eyes. Swoosh! In a flash, the Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley appeared beside Lu Ming. Looks like a sect is here. Let's go and take a look. The Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley said. Alright. Lu Ming nodded and followed the Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley to the entrance of the Dragon God Valley. When they arrived at the entrance of the Dragon God Valley, countless disciples, deacons, and elders of the Dragon God Valley looked at Lu Ming strangely. Lu Ming ignored everyone's gaze and looked ahead. At this moment, the entrance of the Dragon God Valley was covered by a light screen. This was the sect protection array of the Dragon God Valley. Outside the Dragon God Valley, there were a few huge battleships. Then, figures flew out from the battleships. There were at least tens of thousands of people on the battleships. Each of them had a powerful aura. They were all experts. There were mainly 2 groups of people. One group was dressed in white robes, and the other was dressed in black robes. Heavenly Divinity Sect and Heavenly Universe Demon Sect. At the front of the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect was the Sect Master of the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect. The Sect Masters of the Heavenly Divinity Sect and Heavenly Universe Demon Sect are here. What a big lineup! The Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley said coldly. Chapter 1711. In the Dragon God Valley, an old man in a snow-white robe stepped forward and brought his fists together. Why have you 2 come with such great fanfare? This elder was the Valley Master of the Ice Dragon Valley and the entire Divine Dragon Valley. Ice Old Man, stop playing dumb. I heard that Emperor Tsong's inheritance and treasure were obtained by Lu Ming of the Divine Dragon Valley. Ask him to hand it over. It's not something that he can take alone. It's not something that your Divine Dragon Valley can take either. The Sect Master of the Heavenly God Sect spoke in a deep and majestic voice. So you're here for Emperor Tsong's inheritance and storage ring. Lu Ming squinted his eyes and looked at the Sect Master of the Sky Demon Sect. There was a surge of anger in his heart. The Heavenly God Sect was one thing, but the Sky Demon Sect and the Heavenly God Sect were the first to arrive. In the past, Lu Ming had tolerated and restrained the Sky Demon Sect for the sake of Xian Yinqing. However, the Sky Demon Sect had been pushing their luck. It wasn't the first time that they had attacked him. The Sect Master of the Sky Demon Sect knew about his relationship with Xian Yinqing. However, he didn't care about it and came together with the Heavenly God Sect. This made Lu Ming's heart cold, and his killing intent even colder. Since that was the case, he didn't need to restrain himself when he met the Sky Demon Sect in the future. Haha, the 2 of you, where did you hear this rumor from? How can the 2 of you believe in something that is made up out of nothing? You even brought so many experts from both sections. What a joke! The Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley walked out and laughed. Whether it's groundless rumors, whether it's true or not, as long as we search Lu Ming's soul, we will know. The Sect Master of the Sky Demon Sect said indifferently. What a joke! You think you can search his soul just because you want to? Then come over here and let me search your soul. The Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley said coldly as he stared at the Sect Master of the Sky Demon Sect. You're being unreasonable. If you don't allow me to search your soul, it means that you have Emperor Tsong's inheritance and treasure. I advise you to hand it over. The Divine Dragon Valley can't stop or protect it. The Master of the Sky Universe Demon Sect said coldly. That's right, Valley Master. I suggest that we hand over Lu Ming. Otherwise, the Divine Dragon Valley will be in danger. We can't implicate the entire Divine Dragon Valley because of one Lu Ming. Silver Dragon Valley Master suggested to Ice Dragon Valley Master. Shut up. Valley Master Yun Long suddenly turned around and looked coldly at Valley Master Silver Dragon. Valley Master, you see. Valley Master Silver Dragon's expression changed, and he continued to speak to Valley Master Ice Dragon. Alright, Lu Ming is a disciple of our Divine Dragon Valley. Whether or not he has obtained Emperor Song's inheritance and treasures, our Divine Dragon Valley has the obligation to protect him. Don't say anything about this matter. Ice Dragon Valley Master's words made Yin Zheng's face turn ugly. The Tsang Emperor was the ruler of the Tsang province back then. His inheritance and treasures shouldn't be enjoyed by one person or one sect alone. They should be shared among all the sects in the Tsang province. You'd better hand them over. The sect master of the Heavenly Divine Sect said. Haha, what a joke. Putting aside the fact that Lu Ming didn't get it, even if he did, it's his own opportunity. According to what you've said, all the resources of the Heavenly Divine Sect come from the Tsang province. How can it be enjoyed by the Heavenly Divine Sect alone? Hand it over, and share it with everyone in the Tsang province. Valley Master Yin Long sneered. The sect master of the Heavenly Divine Sect said coldly, how can you compare this matter? If Lu Ming doesn't hand over Emperor Tsong's inheritance and treasures, your Divine Dragon Valley will be destroyed and removed from the Tsang province. Everyone will be buried with him. As soon as the sect master of the Heavenly Divine Sect and the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect said, a terrifying aura burst out from their bodies. The atmosphere became extremely oppressive. The aura of so many people was too strong. Also, it's useless even if you hide in the Divine Dragon Valley. The families and families of your Divine Dragon Valley disciples are scattered all over the Tsang province. I don't mind sending people to exterminate them. The sect master of the Heavenly Divine Sect said. Everyone in the Divine Dragon Valley was enraged, but they were also worried. Despicable and shameless. As the sect master of a sect, you're despicable and shameless. You're just like the Divine Sun. Lu Ming shouted. The sect master of the Heavenly Divine Sect looked at Lu Ming coldly. Lu Ming had killed the Divine Sun Luo Shuihan. How could he let Lu Ming off so easily? You're breaking the rules. Valley Master Yin Long said. Even if two sects were to fight, they wouldn't implicate the families and families of their disciples. This was the unspoken rule of the martial world. Otherwise it would be a mess. The rules are set by the strong. The sect master of the Heavenly Divine Sect said arrogantly. Good, very good. Since that's the case, I'll kill every disciple of the Heavenly Divine Sect I see. Valley Master Yin Long revealed a rare murderous intent. Yun Ruoxu, I'm afraid you don't have the ability to do so. The sect master of the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect said coldly. Is that so? Valley Master Yin Long said. He then took a step forward and appeared outside of the Divine Dragon Valley's protective array. A long sword appeared in his hand. Roar! Valley Master Yin Long let out a deafening dragon roar. Let's see what you're capable of as a sect master, Valley Master Yin Long said. Then, a terrifying sword radiance slashed towards the sect master of the Heavenly Divine Sect. Yun Ruoxu, I'd like to see what you're capable of after not fighting for so many years. A divine punishment spear appeared in the sect master's hand. The long spear pierced through the air. It was 100,000 feet long, and it looked as though it could shatter the void. Boom! The sword radiance and the long spear clashed. Heaven and earth roared. Terrifying energy waves caused the void to tremble violently. The ground was struck by the energy waves and deep gullies appeared. Some of the energy waves flew towards the Divine Dragon Valley, but were blocked by the protective array. Back off! Many experts from the Sky Universe Demon Sect and Heavenly Divine Sect retreated. They were afraid of being affected. Only the sect master of the Sky Universe Demon Sect stood still. Cloud Dragon Emergence. Valley Master Yin Long waved his sword, and a huge true dragon appeared. It roared and charged towards the sect master of the Heavenly Divine Sect. The sect master of the Heavenly Divine Sect shone with holy light. The holy light condensed into a huge god. The god stepped on the void and held a long spear in his hand. He stabbed towards the huge dragon. The two of them clashed again. The entire sky was about to be pierced through. Many people watched in shock. Such a great battle was too shocking. Valley Master Yunlong is so powerful. This is too shocking. Is Valley Master Yunlong an absolute saint? God, Valley Master Yunlong is an absolute saint. Discussions broke out in the Divine Dragon Valley. The other disciples of the Divine Dragon Valley were shocked. Among the 7 valleys of the Divine Dragon Valley, Cloud Dragon Valley had the least number of people. They had always thought that Valley Master Yunlong was the weakest. The other dragon valleys didn't take Cloud Dragon Valley seriously. They subconsciously thought that Valley Master Yunlong wasn't that powerful. Other than Valley Master Yunlong, the other Valley Masters of the 7 valleys of the Divine Dragon Valley were all supreme saints. Before this, most of the disciples of the Divine Dragon Valley thought that Valley Master Yunlong was also a supreme saint. They had never thought that Valley Master Yunlong was an absolute saint. Cloud Dragon Emergence. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.